Hey everybody, today I'm out here in New York City because Volkswagen has finally revealed the production-ready version of the ID.7. This will be a 2025 model year going on sale in the US in early 2024. And because we finally have the production-ready specs like range, like power figures, and the interior, let's go ahead and dive right in and show you guys all the detailed specs. So if you guys have been familiar with the ID family within Volkswagen, you can see this has the clear family resemblance, especially with the full LED light bar that kind of connects the two headlight modules together. The IQ light, which is a full LED headlight, is going to be standard across the board. This is also a swiveling adaptive headlight, and because of the fact that it's an EV, it doesn't actually have a front grille. There are a couple of functional openings down here, but because of the slippery front end, this vehicle has a drag coefficient of 0.23, which Volkswagen says should be among the slipperiest vehicles that they have ever done for a production car. Now, at an overall length of 195 inches long, this is among the longer end of the mid-size family sedans that you'll find that are still left in the actual segment. Its wheelbase is also 116 inches long compared to something like the Volkswagen Arteon, which this vehicle should replace. The ID.7 is roughly about 4 inches longer in terms of the overall length, with a wheelbase that's also about 3 inches longer. The sloping roof of the vehicle is going to help again with aerodynamics. The wheels on this particular one here, Volkswagen wasn't ready to talk about the trims, but this model here has a 20-inch wheel, but you can see has a more aerodynamic shape. The tires are a 235/45 R20. So again, not necessarily the fattest tire, but that's good because Volkswagen is targeting up to 300 miles of range with this vehicle. It also is the first ID vehicle ever in the family to get adaptive dampers. So that's Volkswagen's dynamic chassis control, which again should help this vehicle allow you to customize the ride quality from a firmer setting to a more comfortable setting for those of you who plan to take some longer road trips. Now from the rear, you can see it also has a pretty distinctive look and the same kind of IQ light bar that kind of connects the two taillights together. This LED rear light also includes LED reverse lights, LED turn signals, and then VW says when the lights are not on, this taillight is actually a monochromatic, so it kind of has a clear look which turns red eventually when you turn the vehicle on. It is a fully electric vehicle, so obviously there's no visible exhaust tips, but I also just like kind of how clean looking this vehicle is, especially when you compare it to something like the Hyundai Ioniq 6, which has that very tapered rear end, which some people like the design. It's definitely great for aerodynamics, but as you can see, Volkswagen decided to go with a more conventional boxy look. However, unlike some competitors in the sedan segment, when you open this up, it actually has a liftback design, so you're going to get far more cargo capacity. Now looking into the trunk area, I don't have final figures just yet, but you do have the ability to fold the seats down in a 60/40 manner with that little center pass-through. There's a little bit of storage here to the side, some LED lighting, and then if you look underneath here, you can see there is some floor storage as well. If you lift this up, again, there's kind of two levels, and you'll also find a little bit of space there for the mobile charger, which I believe is also included with the vehicle. In terms of final figures, this pretty much looks identical to the Arteon, which I believe had around 24 cubic feet of space, but Volkswagen should be sharing those final cargo figures as we get closer to the on-sale date. Now underneath the hood, just like on the ID.4, there is no frunk on the vehicle. Instead, you're going to find a lot of the electric motor componentry and the packaging underneath here. But here in the US, Volkswagen will launch the car with just one battery size. It's a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack. In Europe, they also offer a longer or a bigger battery, around 86 kilowatts. But for now, VW says only the smaller battery is coming to the US. And at launch, this vehicle will only offer just a single electric motor on the rear wheel. So this will be a rear wheel drive vehicle only. And it also has their new electric drive motor, which means you have up to 282 horsepower and 402 pound-feet of torque. Now that is a pretty nice increase of about 81 horsepower versus the motor that you find in the ID.4, and the torque figure is also significantly more. Compared to something like the Hyundai Ioniq 6, this has also roughly 60 more horsepower, which should give the ID.7 better performance. VW doesn't have final performance figures or fuel economy figures yet, or the charging figures at the moment, but the company is going to be targeting better numbers versus what you get in the current lineup in the ID.4. Moving on to the interior of the 2025 ID.7, you can see this interior definitely has an all-new feel versus what you find in the ID.4. You can see the centerpiece here is that new infotainment system. This is a 15-inch touchscreen with an all-new HMI software. So this system here is upgraded versus what you find in the ID.4. You can see there is a small little helper screen right here behind the steering column. VW doesn't know or didn't tell me how big this screen is, but you can see it's a pretty small screen. It's definitely more of a narrow screen, but it's nice that they give you that along with an augmented reality heads-up display, which VW says should create that futuristic feel that they were looking for. Now, in terms of the materials, this is a premium electric sedan, so you've got these soft touch injection molded materials here on the upper door panels, real leather stitching here. You have this kind of contrast ambient lighting where you can change the color to be 30 different colors, a padded center console area here. And then just like the ID.4, unfortunately, you do have just 2 window switches here. So you have to kind of cycle between either rear or the front when you guys are opening and closing the windows, which I don't particularly love, but it's something that I imagine owners are going to get used to. The steering wheel also comes right off of the ID.4, which also offers like a tilt and telescoping adjustment with the same kind of touch sensitive buttons, which is also lit up, which is really nice. The shifter you can see is right here on the steering column, where you basically twist it to the left or to the twist it up or down, push the P to go to park. This is relatively easy to use, and again, some of the switchgear also feels new. Now over here on the center stack, you can see, once you get past the software here, you can see this vehicle offers a 12-way power front seat. So you have 12-way power front seats for both the driver and front passenger. They're heated and ventilated on the upper trims with the ventilation, but all of them will come with the massage feature, which, as you can see, the massage, there's several different modes because VW has upgraded the massage function versus the ID.4 to also give you a bottom cushion massage in addition to the lumbar. They're claiming that it's going to, again, improve the comfort of this vehicle on those longer drives. You can see down here on the lower part of the screen, this is an infotainment, or this is the climate control, which is fixed in position. So you don't have to worry about losing that in the menus, but you can also push that climate menu here. And you can see this vehicle does have electronic dash vents. So you can see the vents in the dash are actually controlled via the screen. This is the exact same thing that Tesla does with the Model 3, but unlike the Tesla, VW says that you can kind of adjust that vent control to where you would like it, and then you can also just kind of push that button and it'll save the vent control for you. So that's something where you don't have to kind of fiddle around with it. Once you've fiddled with it once, you can set it. There's 2 different settings for both the driver and the passenger, and it'll basically remember that setting every time you get into the vehicle, which is nice. Over here you can see there's the home display. This also includes embedded GPS, of course. That's something that Volkswagen still continues to do, which should also include route planning when you guys are traveling those longer distance, where it'll find an EV charger along the route. Overall, for a pre-production prototype car, I'm pretty impressed with how quickly this system populates and how quickly it swipes between different menus. It should also include, of course, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have heated and ventilated seats, and then you can see here that slider controls are finally illuminated. That's something that a lot of consumers have complained about in the past. It's nice to see that Volkswagen has upgraded that. Down here you can see there's a wireless phone charging pad with 2 USB charging ports. There's a lid here that closes up over the charging pad and the cup holders. It actually feels really good. You have a nice padded area here, a little bit more storage down here, which you can see the ambient lighting. The key fob for the vehicle, you can see, is the current key that Volkswagen has been using for a few years. And this is the same one that we find in the ID.4. It has your usual lock, unlock, and open up the trunk button. This little padded center console you can see opens up. It's a pretty deep storage area as well, where you can store a few things. I like how this also has a 2-tier way to open up. So if you have somebody's elbow resting here, you can kind of just push that and that'll stay down, and you can still access the center console. The glove compartment you can see is damped and lined with felt. It offers a pretty good amount of storage. There's also a 14-speaker Harman Kardon stereo, which is going to be optional on certain on the higher end trims, which for the audiophiles out there, you're going to definitely prefer that. The seats also have been upgraded, and they're a different design versus the ID.4. You can see this model here has kind of like a black with a blue accented stitching. VW will also offer a light gray two-tone with the black side bolstering and whatnot. And then above me here, you can see this panoramic roof is going to be standard. You can essentially frost or unfrost the roof. So this doesn't actually open up to let some fresh air in, but you can see, swipe that, it'll frost or defrost. It's a really cool feature. A lot of other brands are doing something similar, but it's nice to see Volkswagen is kind of pushing the envelope here. So overall, the interior you can see has a lot of upgraded tech, really premium materials, but it also kind of gives you that traditional sedan feel. But let me go ahead and hop in the back seat, because let's see if this can actually accommodate somebody who's more Alex's height. Now, the backseat area of the ID.7 you can see offers a lot more space than you might think, considering this is a sedan. Now, because the roof doesn't taper quite as much as some competitors, you are going to find more headroom, and because also this is built on a dedicated electric vehicle architecture, it has a completely flat floor back here and a ton of legroom space. Now, I don't have final figures just yet, but when I get back here, you can see for somebody my height, now Alex is considerably taller than me. He's a little over 6 foot. I'm 5'7", but I can get back here, cross my legs. I can kind of stretch out really nicely as well. When I shut the door, You can see it has the same kind of nice thunk from the front, and then you can see here as well, there's same kind of soft touch materials with the beautiful ambient lighting. The Harman Kardon stereo carries over here, and then you can see there's a nice padded area. Now, in terms of the headroom space, you can see I'm 5'7", so for me, it has just enough space, but I imagine if you're over 6 feet like Alex is, your head might be touching the roof a little bit, but it's probably no worse versus something like the Hyundai Ioniq 6. Back here as well, you're gonna find features like heated rear seats, a third zone climate control, rear seat vents. You have storage cubbies here for your smartphone, for something like a little storage cubby down here. And then over here you can see the seat back has the same kind of design as the front. So you have the suede Alcantara with the blue stitching, the contrasting stitching, and then if you fold this down here, you can see there's an armrest that gives you 2 cup holders, and then this center pass-through here can fold down to expand the cargo capacity. There's also 2 USB-C charging ports, but overall, in terms of the legroom space, this appears to be near the top of the class. So with so many electric SUVs on the market, it's really nice to find a brand new all-electric sedan, and Volkswagen has always been known for building really good sedans, so it's pretty natural for me to see them do an electric sedan as well. And being the third model in the ID family, it should be going on sale here in the US in early 2024 for the 2025 model year. Now, like I said earlier, it'll come originally with just a single motor rear drive configuration with nearly 300 horsepower. That almost essentially matches the power figures on the Arteon, but if you remember correctly, the Arteon was front-wheel drive with the availability of all-wheel drive. We should also see an all-wheel drive model coming sometime later in the model year after the rear drive model goes on sale. Now, in terms of pricing, VW wasn't ready to talk about pricing just yet. However, if I could guess about the pricing, I'd say it'll probably start in at just under $50,000, considering the fact that the Arteon was around 43 grand for the base version. They stepped it up to around mid or low 50s for the fully loaded SEL Premium with the R-Line package. This model here, I expect it to be more expensive because of the additional technology, because of the upgraded electric motor, the upgraded tech on the inside. However, we won't know that figure until we get closer to the on-sale date. But overall, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, what you guys think of the actual design. I think the interior has also been a huge upgrade. I love the new infotainment system that Volkswagen is doing, and I also love to see that the fact that they're upgrading the rear electric motors and improving the range, because like I said, even though the smaller battery pack should be getting around 300 miles of range, I'm hoping that Volkswagen will eventually add in the larger battery pack, because that model there should probably get closer to 350 miles of range if they decided to bring it here. And I think that's the kind of number that a lot of Americans are looking for, especially when you think about a long distance cruiser that's supposed to be a premium electric sedan. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full tour on the 2025 Volkswagen ID.7. Again, like I said, Alex wasn't able to make it to this event, but if you guys are also looking to see the vehicles that I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. But if you're also looking to see other videos from Alex's channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow him at Alex on Autos, EV Buyer's Guide, and Auto Buyer Guide as well.